The Department of Justice is also looking at the issue of how real estate agents are compensated. The Department of Justice, and whether those practices harm competition. Buyer agent compensation. Will it stay the same? Will it go away? Or will it look completely different? Hello and welcome to Create More Business Now. This is your stop. If you are a real estate agent, this is your go-to place for real estate news. My team and I work with real estate agents just like you, if you're an agent, to help you build a solid foundation. And one of the questions that just keeps coming up right now, all the time, every day, is around buyer agent compensation. So let's dive into that starting right now. Hey, thank you for tuning in and watching this video. If you find it helpful, do my team and I a favor and subscribe to our channel right there and smash that bell to get notified when we post more helpful content just like this. If you are a real estate agent, this information is for you, and let's jump in to the meat of this case. If you didn't know already, on October 31st, Halloween nonetheless, the settlement that NAR had to face was in Missouri. And what NAR is coming out and saying is this matter is not close to being final, that they will appeal the liability finding because we stand by the fact that NAR rules serve the best interest of consumer support, market-driven pricing, and advanced business competition. We remain optimistic we will ultimately prevail. And in the interim, we will ask the court to reduce the damages awarded by the jury. And a lot of agents, and rightfully so, are focused on the commission side, but I want to touch a little bit on how this will impact buyer and seller. So stick around to the end and do us a favor. If you have an opinion, share it in the comments below. We love to hear your thoughts because, like the article said, this is going to drag on for a couple of years. If you didn't know, the National Association of Realtors was formed 100 years ago because there was a need for a higher level of ethical practice. We should all be proud that realtors continue to serve in that role. Now, if you are paying dues to NAR, you may feel that they are selling you out. And I hear that a lot on social media, platforms like Facebook and Instagram, that NAR has sold out the agent. But again, stick around for a few because we want to talk about the impact this is going to have on buyers and sellers. And if you don't know, it's going to have a big impact on veterans. An article on November 2nd in Fortune magazine, the headline, big font, Americans are taxed $60 billion in real estate commissions, says attorney who just won the $1.8 billion mega verdict against the National Association of Realtors. And look, if you want my 2 cents on this, the only people winning in all of this are the attorneys. And they are circling like sharks in the ocean when they smell blood. So a series of court challenges seek to upend long-standing real estate industry practices that determine the commissions agents receive on the sale of a home and who foots the bill. And there are a lot of opinions on this, that is negotiated by the listing agent, that is paid by the seller, that is paid by the buyer. The fact of the matter is, right now, all of that is up in the air. A federal jury in one of those cases, this was on Halloween, ordered NAR, along with some of the nation's biggest real estate brokerages, to pay $1.8 billion in damages. Now, the class action lawsuit was filed in 2019 on behalf of 500,000 home sellers in Missouri and some border towns. Now, treble damages, if treble damages, which allows plaintiffs to potentially receive up to 3 times actual or compensatory damages are awarded, the defendants may have to pay more than $5 billion. $5 billion. That's a lot of tacos to be bought on Taco Tuesday. This matter is not close to being final, and they will appeal the verdict. We talked about that already. But check this out. Here's something that you should be concerned about. But NAR and several real estate brokerages are facing another lawsuit over agent commission rules. Fresh off winning the verdict in the 2019 case, the lawyers filed a new class action lawsuit in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Missouri that, check this out, seeks class action status covering anyone in the United States who sold a home in the last 5 years. It names the trade association and 7 brokerages companies, including Redfin, who has already pulled out of NAR, including Redfin, Weichert, and Compass Inc. So they're going after every major real estate brokerage. And again, we're going to talk about how this impacts your clients, because that's the important, your commission paycheck, but how's it going to impact your clients? So what's at issue nationwide is costing Americans about $60 billion in extra real estate commissions, says, guess who? One of the attorneys. Go figure. The focus of the lawsuits is a NAR rule that requires that the home sellers offer to pay the commission for the agent representing the buyer when they advertise their property on local multiple listing services where a majority of U.S. homes are listed for sale. This is in addition to having to cover the commission for their listing agent or broker. So 6% split 2 ways, 3 and 3. The NAR rules also prohibit a buyer's agent from making home purchase offers contingent on the reduction of their commission, according to the complaint. So, look, share your opinion in the comments. I don't have all the answers, but share your comments so we know what other agents like you feel about this. I personally think it's going to impact buyers a lot, and we'll talk about that here in a second. I think they're the ones who are losing out here. Plaintiffs also claim that the NAR requirement effectively, check this out, effectively keeps commission for a home buyer's agent artificially high. Is that true or false? So let's talk about the elephant in the room. Here's an article on November 3rd from CBS News, how real estate brokerage's ruling could impact home buyers and sellers. And it goes on to kind of restate some of what we've already spoken to, that large brokerages conspire to inflate home commissions. The vast majority, or 90% of U.S. homes, are bought and sold through real estate agents affiliated with NAR. Okay, so they're going after this 5 to 6% commission based on the home sales price. Now, let's get down to some other really frightening news. Feds also eyeing real estate agents. The Department of Justice is also looking at the issue of how real estate agents are compensated. The Department of Justice, and whether those practices harm competition. Federal regulators could determine that those practices violate antitrust law, triggering a broader overhaul of how real estate agents are paid. It is possible that the DOJ would proactively weigh in during the injunction determination in order to make the changes that it believes are necessary to promote a fair and competitive market. Changes to the payment structure for agents could cut the $100 billion annual commission pool for 1.6 million realtors by 30%. 30% reduction in commission. Look, if you're a buyer agent, share your thoughts in the comments. You guys spend a lot of time, energy, money, and effort driving around, taking care of these things, not working until the deal actually closed. So we'd love to hear your feedback on this. NAR and other defendants in the Missouri case have vowed to appeal the ruling. But let's talk about how it's going to impact the audience of buyers and sellers. Is it fair to have one agent, one listing agent, represent both parties? What could go wrong there? Look, if you understand why NAR was created, you understand that the buyer was not receiving proper representation. So I hear arguments that say, well, Rod, when you go to buy a car, you don't take another salesperson with you to negotiate with the salesperson. But then again, some of the slimiest transactions are done in the finance office of car dealerships at 26% interest for people who can't afford them. So I'd argue that maybe you do need some representation there. And what about veterans? If you didn't know, a veteran cannot pay the buyer agent commission. So even if this goes to a buyer paid model, which who is going to be affected by that? Low to income American families, those who don't have that money. Look, I started in the mortgage space back in 2001. I know the changes that went through that industry with Dodd-Frank in 2009 and how they cut a loan officer's commission, in half or in a quarter. They're coming after yours as well. So the home buyer is the one who is going to, in my opinion, be disproportionately affected, because if you don't have the money to pay the buyer agent, then what? Also, what happens to someone selling a home who says, you know what, I don't want to pay the buyer agent compensation? And in today's real estate world, let's use a for sale by owner. Let's use a FSBO, for example. FSBOs, if they don't list any compensation, no agent goes and sees that property, and understandably so. Why would you work for free? But what's going to happen in a model that if the seller doesn't have to pay or is not required to pay the buyer agent compensation as part of the transaction? What happens to agents who refuse to go show those properties? Is there going to be another lawsuit, call it discrimination or whatever? Share your thoughts in the comments on that. Because buyers who don't have the money to pay for representation, and veterans and sellers, everyone's going to be impacted. And the only people winning are the attorneys, because they take the bulk of the money in these class action lawsuits. So again, we'd love to hear your feedback. Share your comments, down below. And also, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our channel. We appreciate the love, and click that bell right there to get notified when we post more helpful content like this. And I'll see you next time on Create More Business Now.